And hello everyone, Jay Clark here with your AHL Real Estate. Welcome to Real Estate Explained, a web series where I take basic real estate ideas, concepts, terminology, and break them down for you. In today's video, we are going over earnest money and due diligence money. Now, what are these? Well, in short, these are deposits that a buyer makes upon formation of a contract. They have 5 days to make these deposits, but of course there's more to it than that, so let's dive into it. So, here I have a standard 2T offer to purchase contract. This is what we real estate agents use for any submission of most offers here in North Carolina. Some stuff might change depending on what state you're in, or if there's been an update since the recording of this video. But anyway, I wanted to focus in on the purchase price because this is where due diligence and earnest money are laid out. So you can see here, this is the total amount of the purchase price, total amount of money paid out. Then you have your due diligence money, then your earnest money, and then you see at the bottom here, balance of the price at closing. And that this number, which is the money that's going to the seller, is this amount is that amount minus the earnest money and due diligence money. Because earnest money and due diligence money are deposits that we paid back to the buyer at closing. So now you're probably wondering, why are there two different types of deposits? Well, it's because there are two different aspects to the real estate contract that they cover. So a quick refresher from my previous video that I did, which you should watch, about the cycle of a real estate contract, how when the two parties enter a real estate contract, they are in what is called the due diligence period. The due diligence period is the time when the buyer has to investigate the property, have the inspection, all that done, and they can pull out for whatever reason and not be in breach of the contract. Thus, the due diligence fee is the money sort of meant to be a compensation deposit to the seller for this period, as the seller is taking a lot of risk as the buyer can pull out for whatever reason, and they're taking their house off the market, having the inconvenience of having a home inspector. So the due diligence fee goes directly to the seller. That's money that goes into the seller's bank account. They can spend it however they wish, and the buyer will be credited back at closing. So in order to get that deposit back, the buyer will have to go through a closing. So that gives some incentive to the buyer. And that's why I have it in that theoretical contract, because that wasn't any actual contract, that was just a theoretical one, but why I have it be a smaller amount. But so now earnest money. Earnest money is, I guess you can call it like holding it as money as collateral, sort of like pawning, because earnest money is money that the buyer is a deposit that the buyer makes, but that money is not touched by the seller. It's held in a third-party trust account, most likely the buyer's closing attorney, and it'll be held in a non-interest-bearing trust account until the contract closes. Then the buyer will get it back, or if the buyer withdraws before the end of the due diligence period, they'll get the earnest money back. But if the buyer breaches, the seller could get the earnest money as compensation. Now there is some legal dispute, and if you are in a contract situation where you have dispute over earnest money, I highly recommend that you just talk to your lawyers about that for that specific case. Yeah, but so why are these deposits made? Well, because overall there's a lot of money when buying a house. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions in some cases. And really, the seller is the one bearing all the risk, because most of the time a buyer isn't they're offering to purchase the property through a loan. A majority of the money used to purchase a house is actually money from the lender. So by making the earnest money and due diligence money deposits, the buyer is taking some of their own money and putting it at risk for this deal. They're compensating the seller for having the due diligence period. They're having the earnest money held as collateral. All this is the buyer showing their interest in the property. So when you get into a competitive bidding situation, I, as the seller's agent, might advise the seller to take the offer with the higher earnest money due diligence money if possible. Now, I want to go back to this contract because you can see here, because earnest money due diligence money have to be paid within 5 days of formation of the contract. But say if you're a buyer, you don't necessarily have $1,000 or whatever amount you want to put to pay right away. Well, you can do this provision called additional earnest money, where you can pay additional earnest money at a later date past the 5-day period that you would name. So there is that, and that still shows a vested interest in the property. But that's pretty much it for earnest money due diligence money. This was just a quick summary, and I'm glad that I hope you guys got something from this. If you guys ever need a real estate agent in the Fayetteville area for buying and selling, give me a call at 910-257-1860. I will have links to all my social media down below. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. Engagement's always welcome. I'm here to help you wherever you need me. So have a great day, guys. Bye.